Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another special episode. Today, I am really excited to have a premiere interview with Grace. So, hello, ladies. How are you guys doing today?
Hello.
Hi, we're doing great, thank you.
So, our audience is already familiar with Nadia. She's been on several of our concerts. Faryl as well. We've been, lucky to have you at a show. Natasha, it's lovely to meet you for the first time. I'm
Thank you.
wondering, would you ladies each be able to share, even though some people probably, actually most of our audience probably is already familiar, but for those who aren't, could you each share a little bit about your background, how you started singing, and maybe about your individual sound? Should we go Nadia, Natasha, and then Faryl, because that's how I see you on my screen?
Oh, sure. No pressure. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Nadia Eide. I am originally from Scandinavia. I'm half Norwegian and half Swedish. I kind of grew up there and moved to the UK when I was 18 to study music. I come from a musical theatre and operetta into opera background, really. That was kind of my journey. Studying musical theater and then discovering my voice was quite classical and then going into operettas later on in my career, and then I kind of fell into classical crossovers. So I've been doing that very much as a solo artist for the majority of my career, traveling the world and just loving doing concerts all over the place, and very excited to be starting this new journey with these two wonderful ladies. So that's me in a nutshell.
I love that. And you are so busy, Nadia. I always see your tour schedules. I have no idea how you do it. We'll maybe come back to that in a second. But Natasha, how about you?
Hi, yes, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Natasha Hemmings, and I've been studying classical singing since I was 14 years old at the Junior Royal Northern College of Music. And I've been songwriting and singing classical music since then. I also graduated from the Royal Northern College of Music, so I've done a lot of performances and stuff around the Manchester area in the north of England. When I was 19, I won Miss England, and that was a huge opportunity that launched me sort of on the world stage. I went to China for Miss World. I sang there at the Beauty Crown Theatre, which was streamed to over 1 billion streamers and viewers. Yeah, it was a big, amazing opportunity for me. And since then, I've toured with Ronan Keating, OBE Aled Jones, and Russell Watson. And I've had the privilege of collaborating with some really legendary artists as well. So classical music has always kind of been my inspiration. I have always kind of crossed over a little bit into the pop world with my songwriting, but at the heart of my music, it is classical inspiration. So to be part of a classical crossover group is super exciting for me.
That's awesome. And speaking of no pressure, 1 billion people, that's...
Yeah, that was a lot of pressure. But it was just kind of, we were in that environment where there was so many performances and things going on every single day that I think it just kind of, we weren't aware of who was watching and when. And there were so many of us there. Like, I think the contestants were around 330 countries. It was a lot of girls competing. So yeah, we were just used to just going up and performing without being aware really of how many people were watching us.
Yeah, just kind of being in the moment rather than the long term.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it is something that you do get used to. I think the more and more that you're in this industry and you're doing things at a moment's notice at the drop of a hat, you do just get very comfortable with not thinking about the pressure of situations and just powering through.
Yeah. But still, to me, that's crazy. But I love that you guys, you've all had such, I think, amazing experiences. And we'll get more into that hopefully as the interview goes on. But Faryl, tell us a little bit about you.
So hello, for those of you who don't know me, I am Faryl Smith. I am from Northamptonshire. I started my career at the age of 12 on the second series of Britain's Got Talent. And from that point on, I went on to have 2 albums with Universal, or Decca Classics at the time. And since then, I have had some amazing experiences. I have been lucky enough to perform with some amazing opera singers and very well-known classical crossover artists. So I toured with Catherine Jenkins and similarly performed with Ella Jones, Russell Watson. And I then went to the Guildhall School of Music and Drama and trained as an opera singer on the opera course. So now I do a mixture of working for opera companies here in the UK, like Glyndebourne Opera House, and this summer I'll be working for Opera Holland Park. And I'm also still performing a lot of classical crossover events, corporate events, concerts, and sporting events as well at Twickenham and Wembley.
So I think what a lot of people will want to know is how the three of you met and how Grace came about.
Well, I think we've kind of always like known of each other for a while. I think when you kind of you have a mutual love for the style of music, and I myself am quite a geek, so I like to see different artists, what they're up to, and just get inspiration from other people as well. It's always been kind of, because I've just been, for me, speaking as myself, what I do is quite lonely sometimes. It can be quite lonely, especially when you're constantly on the road, constantly touring, and just dealing with, I mean, the people I work with are my sound technicians and my musicians. And so it's pretty much just me alone on stage most of the time. And it can be quite lonely. And so I thought, you know, it's so nice to be able to get together and do some harmonies and experiment a little bit more. I think it's been a long time since there's been a girl group, you know, and I think it's a good time for some girl power. I think a lot of people who would be fans of the three of us, it's lovely that we all come together and hopefully can create a new fan base, you know, and just give people, kind of fans, a little bit more to look forward to and listen to. And it's a challenge as well to be able to put three sopranos together. That's very unusual as well, you know, to be able to find a way of blending, and which we've done a few sessions in the studio, you know, and that's worked beautifully. And it's just like our voices were made for each other. So it's been such an exciting journey so far, is what I can say about that.
I mean, I had a sister who was a soprano, and we were both sopranos at the time. We'd kind of like fight at that age. We were 12, whatever, 13. So we would be like, who gets to sing the high part? I'm sure that you ladies have a much better system than that. So can you tell us, you probably each have different characteristics to your voice. Does that help define who's going to take the lead and who's going to do the harmony or the descant? How have you been experimenting and finding that?
I think it's quite an exciting opportunity for creativity, and we've each taken turns in kind of exploring different roles for our voices in each of the songs that we do, and we're sort of finding a way of just creating together and just letting each other have the spotlight in moments. And it has been a challenge, but also just so rewarding when you hear back the harmonies all working together in that way. And it's beautiful, whatever part you've been given, to be a part of that process.
And, you know, just as to add, usually as a soprano, as we all know, we're so used to singing the top line. So I remember when I was younger, my singing teacher would get me to sing the harmony sometimes, just because altos are brilliant and mezzos, and they're able to just hear the chord and the melody. I think you get a little bit lazy, maybe, because you're just so used to being on the top. So I think it's fantastic. I'm very much for it, you know, and it's been fun experimenting with like lower bits, warmer qualities of your voice. You know, you don't always have to be singing up in the rafters. It's nice to do that sometimes, but it's actually a really nice way of looking at music with fresh eyes again. It kind of takes me back to my training where, you know, you do group singing, and when I'm in a show or musical or something like, or operas, you know, you're used to singing all sorts, you know. Harmonies are so useful.
But yeah, it is great training for the ear, isn't it? Just picking out your part and holding to it. Oh, you're back.
Yay! I don't know what happened there.
No, I think once you actually get into it, like I said, obviously when I started, I was very young, so you weren't thinking like that. But once you actually get into it, there's so much enjoyment to be found in the harmonies. I feel like,
Yeah.
Even sometimes you hear harmonies that maybe aren't the best for your own voice, but when you start to hear that, it's just like the expansion of the appreciation of the whole sound. Have any of you ladies done chorus before, or were you mainly always doing solos from an early age?
I've done
I
choral stuff before.
Quite a lot of
You've done
chorus
some
performances at Glyndebourne. I mean, I was mainly performing in the chorus at Glyndebourne, and then I covered a role. So I was doing it at the same time as when we were in the studio as well. So on any days off that I had, and we were able to sort out schedules, that's when we were at Universal recording some of the pieces that we've done. So I was very much in that mindset anyway of harmonizing, working with a group, which has actually been great for me because similar to what Nadia was saying, I mean, especially when I was younger, a lot of my well, up until this point, really, a lot of my career has been solo, but especially when you're growing up and you're kind of surrounded by adults as well, and as a child I was often on my own and I was performing on my own, and like you say, you're only really working with your sound technician or your manager, and it is really lovely to be collaborating with other singers.
Just that feeling, I think, of community that you get when there's multiple people. And I'm not sure if you guys have experienced it yet, but I think like sometimes, that's what I was saying, for choirs, when everyone's in harmony, you can hear these like overtones happening and everything. It's quite a special thing that happens. So I know it's still early. You can't probably share everything about your repertoire, but you did post a little teaser clip of Ave Maria to your socials. So can you share some of maybe your process of how you're picking music together? Is it like a favorite from each, or how does that go?
Trying to kind of get a balance of lots of different genres, because as we've all mentioned, Nadia said she trained in musical theatre. Natasha was saying she has a lot of experience in pop, and now I'm performing mostly in opera. So that is quite a lot of genres and experience from all three of us, really, that we are able to all bring together, which is great. So we are trying to kind of do a mix of everything, really, and trying some things out and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work as well. So it's it's a process.
It's that exciting time of experimentation. Natasha, you said that you've done some songwriting. So I'm curious, is that something that you might have original music either now or in the future with the group?
Definitely. I mean, it's something that I did from a personal point of view of just kind of sharing my life story and just experiences and emotions and things that I've had and how music has influenced me. So my initial songwriting process was just kind of material for me, but in terms of writing something for the group, I would definitely be interested in doing that and putting their spin and their input in it on as well, because it's really nice to have new music coming out. And as much as we love like the traditional songs and putting our stamp on those, it's nice to be able to put out something that has a message or something that you want to share with the world about your creativity. So yeah, it's definitely something that I would love to explore in the future.
And, having said the message, Natasha, I read through your biography and you talk about how, faith has been really important. Is there kind of a general message that the three of you are trying to put out, or maybe it's too early to determine that, I'm not sure, but is there kind of a theme that you guys want to share?
I think it's
sorry.
No, go for it.
I was just going to say, I think the main thing is that we're all individuals and we all have our own story and our own things that drive us that we want to share. And it's not so much that we have like a collaborative message for Grace. It's more that we celebrate each other and empower each other as individuals, and what we're bringing to the table together is then, amazing, because it's each strong characters that have their own careers and have their own lives and have built their own story. So it's lovely to see that.
I think that's like the essence of the entire group. It's because you're not just getting three girls who are new, fresh out of college or whatever, and being put together and to create something. We, all three of us, have had extensive careers and a lot of experience, and I think that's super rare, and that's why it's exciting for me as well, to do something like this, because it's a strong kind of powerhouse group. You know, we've got three girls who know what they're about, you know, and that's what makes it exciting for me, because you've got the experience from, you know, a plethora of performance venues, and you know, we've all been traveling the world, all worked with amazing artists, and we've gathered all this knowledge and experience and kind of put it together. And so who knows, you know, like, the world's our oyster. I think there's a lot of excitement to come, I think, with something like this, because it's not something that's been done before. Yeah.
The trumpet sounds within my soul. I ain't got long to stay.
And what does the name Grace mean to the three of you?
I think it's a powerful word because it has so many different meanings to different people. I mean, to me, grace is being elegant, it's being strong and powerful, it's being respectful and considerate. It's a word of faith for me. So it has a lot of different meanings to me, and I'm sure to the other girls as well. So I guess we're still finding what grace as a trio perhaps means to us, but it definitely has some significance for me, that name, and I think it's a beautiful way to describe three powerhouse individuals.
I think it's that strength of femininity as well, you know. It's what we all have in spades, and I think a name like Grace, it has, like Natasha said, it has strength and it has femininity as well, and I think that's what we're about as a group.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think the short clip that we showed on our social medias, I think, I mean, I'm not sure if you agree, but like when you're seeing us performing and you're seeing us all together, and the sound that we create as a three, I think that we were kind of thinking of lots of different names, really, and then when Grace was mentioned, it just seemed to fit. I'm not sure if you agree from the short video that you've seen, but yeah, I just kind of felt right.
And like you were saying earlier, Nadia, it's been a while since we've had a group like this. So there was, I don't know if you guys remember, I'm going to blank on their name, but certainly there was All Angels after that. There was a lot, I feel like early 90s, there was a lot of groups. And maybe on the male side, it has continued quite heavily, where there's a lot of male groups still going. But we really haven't seen this for a while. So I'm curious, did you have any inspirations of groups that you were listening to that kind of you've enjoyed over the years, and maybe put a thought into your mind that this is something you'd want to try as well?
I mean, All Angels is definitely, I mean, they are definitely an inspiration to us. They were an amazing group. The sound that they created was beautiful. So I mean, I definitely think that they are an inspiration to us. I think perhaps we will maybe be going into down a slightly different route in terms of repertoire. But yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, they're definitely an inspiration to us.
And the genre has progressed so much since then. I feel like those early people, I feel like even Charlotte, it was like, oh, she's doing a little bit of pop, it's crazy. Whereas now it would have been much more accepted, I feel like. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear with your unique perspectives of each going down these different paths and how you're going to come together. I'm just excited to hear more from you. I think this is an interesting for me, because I've heard the album, but now I'm getting to chat with you right as it's beginning. So this is very exciting. Can I ask for each of you, because again, you do have these solo careers ongoing. Nadia, you were recently on, I think it was The Voice Scandinavia. So how was that experience, having done it in the UK and coming back? How did you enjoy that experience?
Well, just to take back to the UK, I mean, that was such an amazing experience. To work with will.i.am was a dream. Like, you know, you have these pictures in your mind of what it's like to work with an artist, and then you're like, oh, they're never going to be that great, and then it was so much better. I think everything kind of fell into place for that, and so nothing can top that moment, I feel. I wanted to go back and do, it was The Voice in Norway.
Okay.
I wanted to go back because I kind of got asked to audition there, and I thought, why not? And it's been a while since I've done something in Norway. So I kind of wanted to go back and just see what their music team was like and things. And that was such a fun experience, but it was a weird kind of pressure because I felt like even though it's a smaller program, the whole show is like, a tenth of the size of the UK. But I feel like the pressure was on because there were people from my childhood who would be watching, it's like coming back to my home country, and singing. So the pressure was I felt like a bit more, but it was nice to be able to sing in Norwegian and to work with the team. So that was really fun. And it was, I don't regret a second of it. It's just really fun to be able to put myself out there again, and it's always fun to try different things. And I love being on TV. I love shows like that. And working with music team is just like, that's what I love to do, is coming up with songs and arrangements and things, which I kind of love doing. So yeah, it was a great process. Thanks for asking.
No, I feel like anytime, first of all, the audience that these shows have, even like you mentioned, it might be smaller than the UK, it's still a very big audience. And then the production value, like you're saying, it just must be incredible to go on one of those teams.
It's not even just the people who sit and watch at home. It's like a real global phenomenon. Like, even though people don't sit and watch, they're not able to watch or understand what's going on if you sat and watched The Voice Norway. But on YouTube, it's incredibly popular. You've got people from all over the world, and even people in the UK are like, oh, I'm such a fan of The Voice Norway, and it's so random, but like it's a real kind of global brand. So people go on to YouTube and they look up videos, and and it's just cool to throw the classical crossover genre out there because nobody's doing it. Nobody's bringing that kind of style onto these shows. I mean, that is a very pop heavy show. Wherever you do it, it's going to be pop is the primary genre. I was lucky on the UK Voice that there were a lot of rappers, there was a lot of soul, there was a lot of different styles. I think in Norway they're a little bit behind when it comes to branching out in the music industry yet. So the classical crossover genre was like, it was completely new for them. A lot of them had never heard what I was doing before. So it's cool to be able to kind of go and shake things up now and then. But yeah, no, it's a really cool process, and it always leads to other things happening. So yeah, it's been fun.
And on our recent Songs from Many Lands concert, you performed, I think it was a Norwegian piece, is that right, Nadia? Or
that
Swedish piece?
That's a Swedish piece, but I mean, it's Scandinavian, so it's like I've heard versions in Icelandic and all sorts, but that's a Swedish song, and I actually sing it for my little boys. So they get to sleep at night. Yeah. That sounds so wholesome. Sometimes they're like, "Be quiet, mommy. Don't stop." They don't like it when I sing high, by the way, either. They're like, "No, it's too loud." I was like, "Okay, my quiet voice." Yeah.
No, it'd be beautiful again as you're selecting repertoire, maybe to hear a couple of those Scandinavian pieces. But Natasha, let's talk a little bit about you. So this week I've had fun going through listening to your various EPs. Tell us a little bit about the recordings you've done so far.
Yeah, I think recording for me has been just such an amazing experience because I've kind of been able to grow whilst putting music out. My first stuff was very kind of classical Enya-esque style, and then the stuff that I did later was very much more in the pop crossover realm. So it's nice to be able to see like my creativity growing as I go through the different stages of the EPs and albums and stuff that I put out into the world. I still very much enjoy songwriting, as mentioned before, and I'm still doing that at the moment. I always like to think of songwriting as like an ongoing process. So I don't really ever start anything with like a deadline date, or it might be something that I started years ago and then I pick up and I'm still working on now. So I think songwriting is like a huge part of the recording process for me. And even though with this group at the moment, we're not looking at songwriting, there's still elements of like that creativity and stuff that you can bring, and different kind of twists that you put on traditional songs, which I've been really enjoying exploring as well, and the harmonies and stuff and that kind of element, which is something that when I'm writing music I don't always look at doing myself. So it's kind of a whole different experience for me doing this in a group of 3 sopranos.
And Faryl, you mentioned the opera program that you've been in. How's that been like? Because now I believe you've graduated now and you've been out doing some roles, getting that experience. What's that process been like for you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, I was training for a very long time. As I say, I was performing a lot when I was younger and doing mainly classical crossover music. And I just wanted to train and be able to be performing in operas, really. I mean, that was my goal. So like I say, I have been working for some opera companies in the UK, which has been an amazing experience. I love it. I mean, I love working with the people and the music, but I'm also really passionate still about introducing classical music to more audiences. I mean, more general public audiences. That's what, and also younger audiences. That's what I'm very passionate about, which is why I will always love classical crossover music, because it does introduce so many people and so many different audiences to classical music. So even if, like we say, even if we're taking a pop song, but we're singing it with our classical training, people think, oh, that's amazing. That's I've never heard anything like this. And it's because they perhaps haven't been introduced to kind of that sound world, really. So that's why, another reason as to why I was really excited to work with the girls, because, as we say, it's so many different genres that we're working on. And I personally think that that's great. As many people as we can get to enjoy classical music is good with me.
Absolutely. Well, I know it's still early, but can you maybe tease when we might hear either a live performance or some music, some more music coming out from you guys?
Well, we definitely have some more sneak peek clips coming out, so that keep tuned for that. And I do think we're going to have a live, I don't know whether it'll be a stream or a live video uploaded of a booking that we have, which is not sure if it's still under wraps at the moment, so I won't say any more. But yeah, we have a very exciting date in the diary.
Perfect. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for coming on. I'm very excited to continue to watch how you develop and to finally hear an album when it comes out. I'll be one of the first out there buying that. So please just keep me updated when you have anything new to share. It'd be great to have you guys back on again.
Thank you so
for having
much.
us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.